One of the questions that we get asked quite often is, what does a typical day look like for us? What do we do to fill our day? What would you do to fill your day if you decide to full-time travel? The other question that we get is, what does a regular grocery shopping trip look like for us? What are our go-to meals that we kind of can rely on making in most destinations we go to, because everywhere you go, the ingredients available are going to change. So in this video today, we're gonna kind of take you along for that ride, take you to the grocery store, and just kind of show you what a typical day looks like in the life of Brian and Carrie.
So now when I wake up in the morning, which is typically a half an hour to maybe an hour after Carrie wakes up, now that's not because I sleep in too much, it's because I go to bed a lot later than she does. She probably gets more sleep than I do, to be honest with you. But I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna read my news. I keep up on world events. I think that's important. I also think it's very important that I keep up on my sports. I watch my highlights no matter what season it is, whether it's Seattle Mariner baseball or Washington Husky football, some Seahawks of course. That's what I do for about the first hour of my day before I get to work.
Now the way I start my day, like Brian said, I get up a little bit earlier than he does. I like sitting, and usually I put a movie on. I don't necessarily sit and watch that movie the whole time. I'm usually maybe answering some things on Instagram or just looking at some things on my phone. Then, well, prior to that, we get the coffee. Gotta make the coffee in the morning. It's usually our instant coffee because that seems to be the go-to in a lot of countries. And then after that, we get to work. In our typical work day, we average working from probably about 8 o'clock until noon, 1 o'clock. So now what do we work on during that time, or what are we working on, say, today? Right now, I'm actually finishing up some editing because we are leaving soon on a repositioning cruise, and so we need to get a lot of content completed before we go, as well as when we're home. We like to kind of get a lot of stuff done. The other things that we work on in the morning, if we're gonna be going to a new location, we gotta do some research and we need to find where we wanna stay, what we wanna see, just kind of get that whole in motion, that whole game plan.
Now I'm also doing a lot of editing, taking a little bit off Carrie's plate so she can do some other creative stuff that we'll tell you all about in an upcoming video. We wanna get as much done as we can so when we do go home, we don't have to work quite as hard as we have been. Now typically, we will work, no matter if we're going home or not, about 4 to 5 hours every morning before we take a break maybe and do some exercise and get outside. Okay, now typically I cook breakfast, which is real simple, real basic. I'm doing eggs this morning. Now we're either gonna do eggs or we're gonna do yogurt and granola, that type of thing. Nothing elaborate. I could do something elaborate, but we really don't need to. One thing you're gonna make sure you're gonna wanna do when you get to any Airbnb is check the utensils that you have in your pantry. That's gonna dictate what kind of foods you're gonna buy. Now we always have to buy some kind of an oil, olive oil usually, and we usually have to buy salt and pepper. Now I think the salt was here when we got here, which was a bonus, and we packed pepper with us just because it's easy and it's dry. You can get it on your carry-on, no problem. But this morning it's eggs. Now I cook breakfast because Carrie does the dinner, and her dinners are always way more difficult than my breakfasts are, but I'm also the one that does the dishes, so it kind of balances out. Now her main ingredient when she cooks dinner, the reason why her dinners taste so good is because she cooks them with love. And that's the main ingredient in anything you prepare for dinner is love.
Okay, so now that we have finished our work, it's on to get active, get busy, because we've been sitting for a while. Now, a lot of people have asked us, like, do we join a gym or how do we stay fit and things? Honestly, I do a workout video at home. I go onto YouTube, I find a video to do. They are free. There is an endless supply of any kind of workout video that you possibly would want to do. You can find ones where you don't need any equipment, which is great because if you're traveling, you don't have that equipment. And so anyways, that's what I do. And then Brian has his own workout that he goes and does.
All right, the editing, the work morning is over. It's midday. It's middle of November. It's beautiful out, 72 degrees. I can think of no reason not to get out and go for a run. They got these bike paths that you can go ride your bike. Us walkers, runners don't have to worry about the bikes coming up behind us or coming at us. This place is fantastic if you want to get out and do some exercise. They got these parks with the exercise equipment that I don't use, that maybe I should, but I'll tell you what, if I could think of an excuse not to do this, I would probably take it, but I can't think of anything. These trails, paths, are about 1.5 blocks from our Airbnb. So here I am, every other day at least. Sometimes I go out every day, but it's usually every other day. So yeah, get your exercise, try and get something done every day.
Now, if you are new to traveling anywhere outside of the United States, we'll put it that way, because every place we have traveled, you are not going to have a dryer. You're going to just have a wash machine. So you kind of have to prep and plan ahead a little bit. So we're heading out to head to the grocery store to take you there, but we're gonna start a load of laundry first. One of the things that we do make sure and get when we are traveling is fabric softener. Mainly because you don't get to dry your clothes. They are gonna hang to dry. They get a little crispy and they don't often smell as good. So just splurge a little bit and get the fabric softener. We do highly recommend that. The other thing that you need to be aware of is that a load of laundry here or outside of the States, they call them a high efficiency washer, but they take about 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2 hours and 45 minutes to finish. So they take a really long time, so you need to allow that time. So if you are going to be washing something you need to wear later, you're gonna be out of luck. It's not gonna be dry in time. So we'll get this started.
Now Carrie, this isn't something that we do every day, obviously. Carrie tends to wash her clothes a lot more often than I do, so it is about an every other day thing. Now I've only got one shirt and one pair of shorts that I actually go for runs in, because I just don't have that many clothes. So I do tend to wash my clothes every other day as well. Now she mentioned being careful what you wash. If I want to wear my comfortable sweatpants that evening, I'm not going to get to, because they're not going to be dry yet. So keep that in mind. Okay, now we do have a dishwasher, but if you fill the dishwasher and load it like you normally would, you're going to run out of dishes in most Airbnbs. So these are our dishwasher, and let me tell you something. These do a great job washing dishes. I don't leave a spot on anything. They're completely clean.
Okay, so Brian did a great job on the dishes. Now, earlier he had mentioned that when we first get to a place, one of the things that we do is you kind of want to check and see what you have available. This is going to vary every single Airbnb that you go to. So prior to leaving the first day and going to the grocery store for some of your stock up, see what you have. So he had already mentioned the salt and pepper. Check and see if you have that. Sometimes you do have some oil in that you could at least use for the first few days, and that's great. Now on our first shopping trip, when we do go out, the things that we are going to get when we just arrive are just going to be coffee, creamer, some eggs for breakfast in the morning. Seriously, we just keep it super simple because we need to figure out the grocery store first. So Brian typically goes off and he gets all the basics for the next day, and I kind of meander through the store to first gauge what kind of meals can we make for this month. So when you're going through your kitchen and you're gonna see what you have, make sure you first check, do you have a microwave? You're probably not going to have one. Do you have an oven? We've been places where we bought a frozen pizza and we didn't check before leaving and we didn't have an oven. Do you have a coffee maker? Probably not. You probably have what we have here, a hot pot. And so you're going to be buying instant coffee. So just kind of take a good look through so you're not buying anything that you're not going to be able to use. Now on a typical day, when we're done working, we're done doing all of our other stuff, we're probably gonna head out and do a little bit of sightseeing, maybe go grab a beverage. Today was a little bit more of a work day. Like we said, we're prepping to head home. So instead of doing that today, yesterday we did that. We walked, and we usually just try and pick an area that we want to go walk to. We put in, I know, 5-6 miles yesterday, just exploring.
You know, when we say go sightseeing, we don't mean looking at monuments or touristy stuff. We just pick a direction in the neighborhood somewhere and we start walking, and make sure we didn't miss anything that we should have seen while we were here.
Right. And so today, instead of that, we actually shot another video. So that kind of filled that gap time for us. So instead, it's more of a work day, and head in the grocery store now. When you first arrive to your location, one of the things you are going to want to do is get out your Google Maps. Now that you're actually there, it's going to be a lot more accurate, and find the grocery stores that are nearest to you. They're not always going to be called grocery store. They're going to be called markets and sometimes something else. So you gotta kind of search a little and dig a little bit deeper. But anyways, find a few of them. Don't always just trust the first one that you find. You're going to want to check out multiple ones, especially if you're staying somewhere long term. Some are just going to be like a really nice mini market, and you want the grocery store. So don't
assume that first one you find is the best one. We've actually done that. Oh, here's the grocery store, and we rely on it for 3 weeks, and then the week before we leave, we find another grocery store that's closer and far better. So really do some research, look around, and find the best grocery store.
And be willing to take that extra time to just check them out.
Yes.
So in this location here, we have a couple different, we actually have multiple grocery stores. Now we found two that we really like. One is a little bit further distance away, but it's a super nice grocery store. But when you are doing this kind of travel, you're walking with your groceries. You don't have a car that you're going to put them into. So you really judge a lot off of how far the grocery store is away. This grocery store we're going to take you to today is just about a 4-block walk, so not bad with our groceries. And once again though, you are carrying your groceries, so you're not buying a week's worth of groceries like you might do at home.
You only grab maybe 1 beer instead of 4 or 5 because you got to carry them all the way back. Fortunately enough, there's a convenience store about a block away that I get my beverages at. Now, Carrie and I do shop differently, so I buy my stuff, she buys her stuff, and then we'll combine our dinner and our breakfast items together. So I'll go through the checkout stand, pay for my stuff, she'll pay for her stuff, and usually I'll just Venmo her whatever she bought for dinners and breakfasts.
one of the things that is going to probably trip you up more than anything is the spices that are available or the seasonings that you're used to using. So one of the things that probably one of our go-to meals is tacos. Now tacos, as long as you have that little seasoning packet, is perfect, but a lot of time you don't have that seasoning packet. Okay, well, no problem. I used to always make my own seasonings for a taco mix at home, but I had all the spices. But if I have to go and buy 6 different spices that are, I'll also tell you, not in English, so you need to Google Translate every single package to figure out which ones you need. It just becomes a much more complicated process. It's doable, but it's a much more complicated process. Spaghetti. That is something that we typically can find everything that we need where we're at. Your spaghetti sauce may taste a little different everywhere you go. When we were in Spain, it was very, very sweet, so you had to like get something sour to put in there. I would use like olive juice from our olives that we had bought, so you can kind of figure it out, but that's another go-to meal that is pretty easy to do. No? Oh, okay. All right.
No camera?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we about got kicked out of the grocery store. Apparently, no video.
Yeah, it's
no
a hit and miss.
cameras.
Sometimes they don't want you videotaping in there.
And he
so.
followed me around the rest of the time, so some of those shots I got were a little bit incognito.
Yeah, so we didn't cover some of the other dishes that are our go-tos. The other one, which is what we are going to be making tonight, is going to be stir fry. That is something that, you know, you can always get the vegetables, you can always get the rice, and you can always get some kind of meat that you want to put in it. So on it, beef or pork or chicken, and that chicken's kind of our go-to. So that is what we're doing tonight. But it was kind of interesting because we did in the past, we bought some teriyaki sauce here. They have like 6 different varieties, and I went for the one that actually said in English teriyaki sauce. Get it home, and it is just soy sauce. That's all it
didn't taste like teriyaki sauce. Now Carrie, because she's such a great cook, simply added honey. And it still didn't taste like teriyaki sauce.
No, but it was better than
But it
soy.
tasted good.
Yeah.
Right. And she uses that main ingredient as well, which I told you about earlier today. She uses love. So it always tastes delicious.
So yeah, so you do have to improvise a lot, and you really have to just kind of be willing to go with the flow at the place that you're at and work with what's available. You're gonna find your go-to meals, and you are going to repeat those meals while you're here. Because another thing that you have to remember is when you buy specific ingredients to go into a meal, say for instance the big bottle of teriyaki sauce, you're not going to make stir fry one time because you want to use that bottle. So you're going to have it 3-4 times to use up that bottle of teriyaki sauce.
You can't take it with you.
You're not taking that one with you.
Now I did manage, since I wasn't buying a whole lot today, I did manage to get a couple of beers. These 2 are going to go really well with the 3rd one I have in the fridge. So I am carrying my beer home tonight. Now, not every day do we shoot a video or go to the grocery store, but we do those things often enough that keeps each day busy. Now, one thing I do like to do, I'll be honest, is take a nap. I like getting my naps in a couple times a week, if not more than that. If you're into reading, that's something that you could do. Carrie and I really aren't into reading. We also have met up with quite a few people that have seen our YouTube channel. They're in the same area, same time. So we'll meet up with people from time to time. So there are other things that we do besides what you might find in this video. But this is a typical day in the life of Brian and Carrie. Now Carrie's gonna get dinner started here in a few minutes because I'm getting kind of hungry.
So tonight, like I said, we are going to be making stir fry. We already had some of the ingredients, but if I was to take everything that we got today that we needed, and then also the teriyaki sauce that we already had, or we'll just call it soy sauce, and then we already had a bag of rice, it came to a total of $13.66 for all the ingredients, and it is enough to easily have 2 full dinners from that. So a very affordable meal to make. Now, I will say that the one thing of full-time travel that I probably look forward the most when we do go home, you look forward to those grocery stores that you can walk into and get whatever ingredients that you want. You look forward to just being able to make those meals that you are accustomed to making, because we don't get to do that very often. So we eat pretty simply. Another go-to meal I will add, just because we get a lot of questions about what kind of meals we make, you can always just get like a chicken breast, get some potatoes, and get some vegetables. And that's just an easy, either you can make that on the stovetop if you don't have an oven, or you can use your oven and cook that. So there's a lot of really simple meals that you can make when you're in your Airbnb.
You cannot make Carrie's famous lasagna.
Can't make that. He'll get that when we're home. All right, so dinner is done. It was really good.
No, she does a fantastic
I say so
job.
myself.
She does an amazing, amazing job cooking. You know, I do the breakfast usually. You saw me make breakfast this morning. Not that big of a deal. But Carrie, she can come up with
I
some
enjoy
cool
cooking.
stuff. Yes.
I do, yeah. So now goes to the next part of our evening, and I pretty much can guarantee you it probably looks very similar to a lot of your evenings. We usually just sit and relax, and we find a good show to watch on Netflix or on one of the other platforms that we have, and that's how we spend our evening.
Right now we're watching Amazing Race.
Yeah.
We're about 6 seasons behind, so we're watching Amazing Race, which is a lot more fun to do, and you can actually maybe even go to these places.
We are finding our Netflix, yes, we recognize places that we've gone to.
Yeah.
We are finding our list of Netflix or shows to watch dwindling down, so we really always appreciate your suggestions in the comments of shows that we may have missed. So please put those in the comments. All right, so we hope that this answered some of those questions that you've been asking, and just shows you what a regular day of life for us.
Kind of boring.
It's kind of boring. That's what we've always told you. Like, we've never want to shoot these because it's boring, but we hope it helped. All right, cheers.
Cheers.